Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the late start. I am here today to give a very brief introduction to someone who, the cliche says, needs no introduction, the most Honorable Edward Seaga, who, apart from being a former Prime Minister of Jamaica and Minister of many things and being involved in many, many aspects of Jamaica's national life, in his early years was a record company owner and was a producer of many of the seminal early recordings of Jamaican music between 1959 and 1962, when he owned and operated West Indies Records Limited. Subsequent to that stint in his career and professional life, he became a minister in the 1962 post-independence government of Jamaica. And in 1963, he organized a delegation of Jamaican artists, dancers, and other performers to go to the New York World Fair, and essentially was the first official to bring Jamaican ska to an international audience. Without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Seaga to come to the podium and make his presentation on the Jamaican music industry as a site of nationalistic fervor. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a most unique presentation in that it will be probably the first time that the person who is supposed to be speaking to you from here will be sitting down there. And a CD record will be doing all the speaking for me. That's not because I have a sore throat, or not because I wanted to avoid speaking, but because this particular CD record has 42 pieces of music that illustrate the journey of Jamaican music from the earliest days until the present. They're not complete renditions. Each one has just a small section of the tune, but certainly enough to identify it, as you will see and hear. So, without any further ado, I am now going to ask the operator to commence with the presentation.
You live the life you love. You love the life you live. Everything you have in mind, I will give. Ooh, breathe in, I bring some down.
This documentary recording was prepared by me to illustrate the origins of Jamaican popular music, which has established itself across the globe over the last 50 years. During that time, it maintained its popularity as it passed through different musical styles, from ska and reggae to dancehall. Some of the most important recordings illustrating this transformation are included here. The year 2010 is also the 50th anniversary of the emergence of Jamaican music, which in the course of its development demonstrated a triumph of creativity by borrowing nothing to build something. We can now assess the importance of Jamaican music to the country and the world over the past 50 years. 1. The Jamaican sound system of the inner city has become the disco of uptown, at home and abroad, engineering a transformation through popular music with a social message. 2. The development of dubbing and DJing in Jamaica spawned the most compelling popular music in America today, rap. And 3. Jamaican music has had a greater impact than the music of any other country proportionate to size. This is a proud record of worldwide achievement. This presentation is intended to set the development of Jamaican music in the sequence of the emergence of its rhythms and styles. Rhythm and blues and the pre-ska period, the ska, rocksteady, reggae, and the dub, DJ, and dancehall period. To fully understand these developments, the music must be set in a framework of the medium through which the music reached the people, how it was produced and promoted. After World War II, in the late 1940s, Jamaicans had few choices available to them for hearing recorded music. There was a part-time radio station with a call sign ZQI. It operated for a short period only each day to broadcast the news. Some music was played. The selections were mostly American tunes with a few other Western or Latin American pop recordings. Radios and gramophones for playing 78 RPM records, which were the recordings of the time, were found only in the homes of well-off residents. The broad mass of the population had little opportunity to hear broadcasted or recorded music. Three developments occurred between the late 1940s and early 1950s. One, sound systems appeared for the first time. These were sets with powerful amplifiers and a record player. The systems played at dances, inner city yards, halls, or street corners. Two, in one of the most important scientific breakthroughs of the century, the transistor was developed to replace bulky, inefficient vacuum tubes. The pocket transistor radio became available for play at home, at work, and in between. And three, ZQI was replaced by Radio Jamaica and rediffusion, known as RJR. Rediffusion was a cable network of speaker boxes for homes or offices through which music was piped from RJR at affordable rates. By mid-1950s, Jamaicans were in a much better position to enjoy and be entertained by recorded music. Radio stations in nearby American states could be received, and recent American recordings could be heard by radios and at dances. American music at that time was undergoing a paradigm shift from jazz and big band to rhythm and blues, boogie, and rock and roll. In Jamaica, the mass of population enjoyed rhythm and blues and boogie, while residential urban areas were entertained by big band and rock and roll. Sound systems in particular relished the R&B and boogie music of the top artists in America. Some of the most popular were Fats Domino, Stevie Wonder, Sam Cooke, and B.B. King. An example of a big hit in Jamaica in the R&B style at that time was a song that will be little known to you, but was very popular, Kansas City by Wilbert Harrison. Records were imported for the general public. Sound system operators, however, went to America to find unique recordings which would not be known to others. These choice recordings were a vital part of the sound system's repertoire in establishing which sound was championed. Their reputation depended on these special records being used as surprise hits at dances when two or more sounds clash in a playoff. Sound systems would set up their equipment at their favorite dance areas of downtown Kingston, turn up the volume of their powerful sets to drown out the sounds of rivals nearby. Now you know why you can't sleep at night. Sometimes strong-arm tactics would be used to dissuade patrons from attending rival dances, but mostly the competitive edge was secured by having exclusive records to play which would draw the crowd. To ensure anonymity, the recordings would be soaked in water to remove the record label. When the record became a hit, it would be given a name and sold in very limited numbers at exorbitant prices and profits. Later they would be released gradually in larger quantities at decreasing prices. RGR played few local records or even imported R&B recordings. Popular tunes played by the sound systems hardly received their play at RGR. It is written that the Wailers had to employ strong-arm tactics to get their records played, as a result of which a number of persons behind the turnstiles or the turntable at radio stations left. In 1957, the Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation was launched. JBC changed that policy of marginalizing Jamaican recordings. A program featuring Jamaican recorded music and American R&B and boogie was initiated to be aired every Friday evening from the Glass Bucket Club in Halfway Tree, the leading nightclub in Kingston. It was appropriately called Teenage Dance Party, with Dwight Wiley as the host. It was very popular and well attended by teens as a live show. Hit music downtown in the sound systems could at last be heard uptown. This is a selection, the Red River Valley Rock, Johnny and the Hurricane. Another selection of a similar style, Let the Good Times Roll by Shirley and Lee.
Come on, baby, let the good time roll. Come on, baby, let me thrill your soul. Come on, baby, let the good time roll. Roll all night long. Come on, baby, yes, this is something I just can't miss. Come on, baby, let the good time roll. Roll all night long.
Come on, baby, while the thrill is gone. Come on, baby, let's have some fun. Come on, baby, let the good time roll. Roll all night long. Come on, baby, just close the door. Come on, baby, let's rock some more. Come on, baby, let the good time roll.
Now we enter the pre-ska and rhythm and blues period in Jamaica. By the end of the 1950s, Jamaicans began to compose their own music. In the beginning, these were recorded on acetate discs. Local hits emerged. The earliest were a number of them. Easy Snapping by Theophilus Beckford.
Last night, Papa come to church, he stood across the door. Mama said, "No, Papa, you're a real born clown. Easy slopping, easy slopping, easy slopping, but baby, why you jumped and shot?"
Boogie in My Bones, Laurel Aitken.
Well, it feels so good. I've got the boogie in my bones. Well, it feels so good. I've got the boogie in my bones. Can't you see it, baby? It keeps me jumping all the time. Well, it feels so good. I've got the boogie in my bones. Well, it feels so good. I've got the boogie in my bones. Can't you see it, baby? It keeps me jumping on.
I just want to tell you that Boogie in My Bones was Chris Blackwell's first recording that he produced. He also produced Tell Me Darling by Wilfred Edwards.
Tell me, darling, tell me you love me so. Squeeze me, honey, hold me, never let me go. I love you, darling, you know I do. I'll think of you, yeah, yeah, wherever you go. Squeeze me with all your might.
Easy Snapping was produced by Clement Sir Coxsone Dodd, of whom you will hear much more later. One of the big three sound systems operators, along with Duke Reed and Tom the Great Sebastian. These men played the central and critical roles in the development of Jamaican music in the pioneering period. O Mani O was the fourth hit tune in this pioneer year of 1960. It was in the rhythm and blues style. It was produced by me. It was the first Jamaican hit to be recorded, to be manufactured on vinyl. The vocals were by Joe Higgs and Roy Wilson. The composer Jackie Edwards was one of the earliest successful composer-singers. Joe Higgs went on in later years to be one of the most influential figures in nurturing Jamaican talent, some of the biggest and some of the best, including Bob Marley. At the time of the production of O Mani O, I had just set up a recording manufacturing plant on Bell Road in the industrial estate in Kingston, which I call West Indies Record Limited, World. This emerged from a result of my anthropological research in folk music, from which I had an album produced by Folkways Records in New York. The album featured revival and Kumina songs and drummings and ceremonies. In trying to sell the album in order to expose music that had never been recorded before, I was repeatedly asked to supply other recordings, mostly uptown favorites like Pat Boone and Johnny Mathis, so-called soft tunes. This path took me into the recording business as an importer. But soon I had to become a manufacturer because the government began to restrict imports. As I did not indulge in removing the labels of imported records, I tried to discover their true identities. I was successful in many cases, which allowed me to import quantities at lower prices. One such success was very rewarding. A record which was given a suggestive blank label title, Beardman Shuffle, was very popular and in great demand. I came across a blank label copy and detected a tiny piece of the original label still attached with the telltale imperial record colors. With the knowledge of the identity of the label, I soon discovered the real title. It was Live It Up by Ernie Freeman. I imported a quantity and flooded the market. The record became very popular and was adopted by Teenage Dance Party as its signature tune, in a version form with more African drumming involved. My ability to identify anonymous records sent a signal to sound system importers of records to find another way to get unique records which they could use exclusively to establish themselves as champions. To do so, they would have to record and produce records themselves. This became the impetus that drove the big sound system operators into major record producing, with Duke Reid's Trojan label operating from his Bond Street Treasure Isle studio, and Coxson's Downbeat label operating out of Studio One at Orange on Charles Street, a few blocks away. They became the two giant producers of Jamaican recordings at that time. With these developments in place, by 1960, Jamaicans had a choice of radio stations to hear Jamaican music, a choice of producers providing a steady stream of hits, and a choice of shops to buy Jamaican records. The Jamaican recording industry was born. All that was needed was a rhythm, not rhythm, which could be clearly identified as Jamaican. The driving need to produce something different in order to have an advantage over rivals led to the need for a new rhythm by 1961. There are different stories as to the origin of what emerged. Out of the maze of background stories, the only one with details, true or not, is the Clement Dodd involvement. Dodd, it is said, wanted something new for his sound system repertoire. He instructed two of his studio instrumentalists, Clouet Johnson, otherwise called Cluj, and Ernie Ranglin, to create a new beat. The creative effort produced an emphatic offbeat in the rhythm. This story goes on to attribute the name ska to an abbreviation of a street slang shavuvi, which was popular at the time, according to Clue J. Whatever the origin, the first truly indigenous Jamaican rhythm was born. It was very popular, particularly since it was both song and dance. Coming just before independence in 1962 and extending beyond, the ska was a launching pad for one of the most creative periods of Jamaican music. New composers, new songs, new performers emerged as if all his talent had been in a cupboard, just waiting for the door to be opened. In a matter of 4 to 5 years, the ska not only was the dominant music in the country, but had begun to penetrate the international market, reaching out to Jamaicans who recently migrated to England. Unbelievably, in these early days, the ska beat scored a multi-million international hit in 1963. My Boy Lollipop, sung inimitably by the baby-voiced Millie Small and produced by Chris Blackwell. From there on, a series of Jamaican hits followed in England, where the ska was known as the Blue Beat. As popular and successful as it was abroad, ska was not accepted in the uptown residential areas of Jamaica, where it was regarded as downtown music.
My boy lollipop, you make my heart go giddy up. You are as sweet as candy. You're my sugar dandy. Well, my boy lollipop, never, never leave me, because it would grieve me. My heart told me so. I love you, I love you, I love you so. But I don't want you to know. I need you, I need you, I need you so. And I'll never let you go. My boy lollipop, you make my heart go.
In 1964, I took Byron Lee to Chocamo Lawn in Denham Town, where a session with the Techniques was in progress. Chocamo Lawn had been one of the original party spots for sound system dances, which were held almost every Sunday night. In 1963, it became my headquarters. The Techniques were performing with lead vocalist Slim Smith. The members of this young group, band composers and singers, all taught themselves to play instruments I gave them. The group later scored several hits, such as Little Did You Know,
Little did you
and Conversation.
All I need from you is a good conversation, 'cause it gives me sweet inspiration, and to tell you I never
They made the English charts with other hits. Some of the band migrated to England, and their offspring gave birth to the young group, Musical Youth, and the hit tune, Pass the Dutchie, a version of Pass the Cutchie by the Mighty Diamonds here in Jamaica. Byron was hearing the ska beat live for the first time. He was in awe. He carefully analyzed the instrumentation and took it uptown to his band, and from there on, Byron Lee was playing ska uptown. That moved ska from downtown music to music that was accepted nationally. To attempt to penetrate the US market, I sent a team of ska artists to perform at New York World's Fair in 1964.
Byron Lee and the Dragonaires, Jimmy Cliff, Delroy Wilson, Desmond Decker, Roy Shirley, Ken Booth, and others, including a team of dancers. We were a hit at the World's Fair, but the US market was not quite ready for Jamaican music. This move was ahead of its times. However, it was possible to copyright in the US a substantial number of Jamaican compositions, which I vested in the Social Development Commission for the composers and artists. This protection was a necessity. In England, many disputes had arisen about copyrights, and Jamaican composers were being deprived of ownership rights. Ska, however, had made a strong beginning for Jamaican music. Many stars had emerged. A sample of some will suffice to prove the point. And you'll hear a number of them now.
Once there was an old lady who lived in a show, had so many children she didn't know what to do. Gave them some broth without any bread, whipped them soundly and sent them to bed. Whoa.
That was Eric Monty Morris, one of the earliest ska writers and singers, singing Humpty Dumpty. It was considered, along with Sammy Dead, one of the signature tunes of the ska era. Next we hear the greatest instrumentalists of the period, the Scatolites, with a song I'm sure everybody knows, Occupation. Prince Buster was one of the most prolific writers, composers, sound system operators, everything in the industry. And at this time, he leads off with one of the tunes that was earliest in his repertoire, They Got to Go.
They got to go, they got to go. They got to go, they got to go.
You can hear the definitive ska beat.
They all got to go.
Another mainline group at that time was the Maytals. They were consistent hit makers. They capitalized on the misfortune of their lead singer, Toots Hibbert, who was given a short term in prison for marijuana, where he wore the number 5446. In 1968, this became the title of one of the most celebrated ska recordings, 5446, That's My Number. It was a glorious time for ska and Jamaican pop music, with a strong beginning which lasted 6 years before the next rhythm emerged. That next rhythm emerged by chance in October 1966, according to Hopton Lewis. He was recording a tune with an apt title, Take It Easy. He could not keep up with the rhythm, so the timing was slowed down. What emerged was said to be a rock-steady beat, hence it got the name Rocksteady. The song was Take It Easy. Applico.
Take your time, take your time, take your time. No need to hurry. Take it easy, take it easy, take it easy. No need to hurry.
Another Another prolific period of new music was in the making. The best was yet to come. Desmond Dekker, who had successive hits in this period, scored big with the song Israelites, which became a #1 in England and made the Billboard charts in the USA.
Get up in the morning, slaving for bread, so that every mouth can be fed. Oh, me Israelites. Get up in the morning, slaving for bread, so that every mouth can be fed. Oh, me Israelites. The wife and my kids, they pack up and I leave me. Darling, she said I was yours to receive. Oh, me Israelites.
He migrated to England to follow up with other successes, notably Ait Mek. Before Desmond left Jamaica, he was the leading artist in what has come to be known as the Rude Boy period. Rude Boy ushered into music emerging city violence. Young men in the city were experiencing the first wave of political violence which flared up after the clearing of Backer Wall in West Kingston. Desmond Dekker's 007 was the signature tune of this period. Several other artists made their statements in song about Rudies. It was Derek Morgan who characterized the Rudy as tougher than tough.
Rudies don't fear no boys, Rudies don't fear. Rudies don't fear no boys, Rudies don't fear. Rougher than rough, tougher than tough. Strong like lion, we are iron. Rudies don't fear no boys, Rudies don't fear. Rudies don't fear no boys, Rudies don't fear.
The Clarendonians announced the final outcome of the Rudy movement in the song Rudy Gone to Jail. Rocksteady did not last long. After 2 years, it was overtaken by reggae, the signature music of Jamaica. In everyday reference, particularly abroad, reggae has come to be a generic term for all Jamaican music. It is the sound of Jamaica. Reggae, like its predecessors, ska and rocksteady, is music, rhythm and dance. A slow, compulsive beat with melodic music. As with ska and rocksteady, big stars emerged at home and abroad. In the early period of reggae, Jimmy Cliff emerged as a star. He was part of every period of Jamaican music. From the outset, he was writing beautiful hit songs. One of his earliest was King of Kings. Although Jimmy Cliff was a star in every period of Jamaican music and has proved to be the most enduring artist until today, his most successful years were in the late 1960s to early 1970s. In England, he scored big with Wonderful World, Beautiful People. Then came the biggest hit of Jimmy's career, one of reggae's most renowned tunes, The Harder They Come. This recording was the central theme of a Perry Hensel film of the same name, and it marked Jimmy's debut as a film star with other films to follow. As a film, The Harder They Come broke new ground. It was a story of the music industry in Jamaica and its seedy background of exploitation of the artists in the early days. The reggae movement grew to be an avalanche of hit songs and new stars. Dennis Brown started composing and singing while in his early teens. He was one of the most prolific composers, hundreds of compositions. He wrote and performed successive hits at home and abroad starting in the early 1970s. Hits such as No Man is an Island,
No man is an island. No man stands alone. Treat each man as a brother, and remember each man's dream as your own. Now be near.
Westbound Train,
I'll be taking the train. I'll be taking the westbound train. I'll be going to a place where there is happiness.
Revolution, and many, many others. As a performer, he was one of the artists who could consistently fill the house and stop the show. Reggae's biggest years were ahead. The Wailers were no longer performing together. Bob Marley became an individual act. The advent of Bob on the international scene began to internationalize reggae in England, the USA, and eventually everywhere. Bob Marley added a new dimension to Jamaican music, which had largely depended on rhythm, rich melody, and everyday lyrics. Now, the lyrics had become a message, and Bob Marley had assumed the role of being a conscious singer, as we call them here. His message was universal: human rights, struggles against oppression and discrimination, freedom. These were universal themes at a time when the world was listening because of the preceding years of civil rights struggles in America and the ongoing anti-apartheid movement. It was now possible to reach the US market and score hits on the Billboard chart. Bob Marley became an international star in the 1970s, reaching out with a universal message to mankind. Redemption Song became the theme of struggles everywhere. More than anyone else, he put reggae firmly on the map.
Old pirates, yes, they rabbi, sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit, but my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty.
But strangely, during Bob's journey to success, white America listened. Black America did not. Bob had to record Buffalo Soldier to reach the hearts of African Americans.
Buffalo soldier, dread like a rasta. It was a buffalo soldier in the heart of America, stolen from Africa, brought to America, fighting an arrival, fighting for survival. I mean it.
Today, Bob Marley's music is no longer comparable, except to other great recording artists of the world. After Bob died in 1981, there was a void. None could truly fill the gap in reggae. It was logical that something new had to emerge. This was the right time for a new style. Dub and DJ became that popular new direction. Strangely enough, DJ was the earliest distinctive Jamaican style. Its date of origin can be pinned to December 26, 1950. Tom the Great Sebastian, one of the earliest great sound systems, was playing in Kingston. Tom left the scene to buy ice for drink sales, as sound system dances were usually associated with bars and sales. According to Salzwitz and Boot in their album portrayal, Reggae Explosion, in his absence, his selector, Count Machuki, made live jive chat over the records while in play. The crowds loved it. Yet the new style remained a novelty until the late 1960s. King Tubby was the master cutter for Duke Reed. He experimented with acetate check discs to create a new sound for sound systems. He discovered that leaving out the vocals in some selections of play, allowing the beat and instrumentals only to dominate, created an ecstatic reaction among patrons when the vocals returned. Dub was born. King Tubby Meets the Rockers Uptown was his most prominent hit. The vocal blanks on the dubs left space for artistic creativity to be used to toast the patrons with limericks, nursery rhyme phrasing, greetings, bravado, and other lively chatter. The performers were not singers, as generally singers are recognized. They were the selectors, sound system operators, and studio people. The first DJ to make a hit record was King Stitt with Fire Corner in 1969.
Let to what the people say, these sounds lead the way. It's the order of the day from your boss DJ, I King Stitt. Hot it from the top to the very last drop. Fire Corner.
Then came Roy, who was handling the sound for King Tubby. He made 3 quick successive hits in 1970, which ranked 1, 2, and 3 on the charts at the same time. This blew away the opposition to the new style of music and cemented the DJ as a new arrival who was here to stay.
Wait the sound and tell the people about this musical disc coming your way. Now wait the sound and tell the people I've got a musical disc like in a food to believe. Like a plain musical disc with straight.
Notwithstanding his huge success, the DJ's style declined in popularity in the 1970s, probably because of the success of Dennis Brown and Jimmy Cliff, other emerging reggae stars, and the dominance of Bob Marley. Until in the late 1970s, a new, refreshing DJ team arrived. 2 youngsters calling themselves Michigan and Smiley broke into the charts with a new style of DJing which became very popular. It was called the rubber dub style. This set the stage for one of the greatest DJs of all time to follow on. Winston Foster, Yellow Man, was the man who energized the DJ style with a consistent run of hits. In doing so, he introduced the slackness style to music. His open references to sexuality, and in particular to females as an object of sex, brought out the cheering crowds, including women. When challenged about his open references to sex, he replied directly, "Is slackness the people want, and is slackness I give them."
Hi, my name is Yellow Man, and down in Jamaica they call me Mr. Sexy. And you see, I come to make you feel happy. Over me, the mama do over me. over me. Girls are mad over me. In Jamaica also Miami, hey, over me. Them are mad over me, hey, over me. Them are mad over me. And some stop go to school just to me, hey, over me. Them are mad over me. Me just up in a red, me just up in a blue.
His popularity spans 20 years, and he's still a drawing card on stage shows today internationally. DJs quickly got the message. Slackness brought success. This was to become the wave of the future. Just as dub gave rise to DJ, the stage was set for the DJ to expand into the dancehall movement. Dancehall is more than music. It is a lifestyle which promotes music and dance, outrageous sexy fashions, glorification of macho sex, and boastful bravado of violence. Generally, the music is explosive, predominantly as rhythm, regardless of the other elements of lyrics and melody. A good rhythm is the bedrock of Jamaican music, especially dancehall, and can be used for a great many records. Building a tune starts with the rhythm section. Just as Coxsone and Duke Reid were the early rhythm masters and producers, they were succeeded by a number of new producers who guided the rhythm industry through rocksteady and reggae. In the 70s, there were the Hookin Brothers, Bunny Lee, Joe Gibbs, Lee Perry, Harry J. The 80s, King Jamis, Jack Scorpio, Junjo, Gussie Clark, Clancy Eccles. And in between the 80s to the 90s, Bobby Digital, Jermaine, Specialist, the Brownie Brothers, the Kelly Brothers, and many more. These were the men who built the rhythms. That's where you start. Rhythms were taken to another dimension through the genius of Sly and Robbie, the internationally recognized duo. It is in a dancehall that the African linkages to Jamaican music is most evident. With consistently good rhythm makers in place, dancehall needed star performers. It was Shabba Ranks who best personified the exaggerations of dancehall in dress, music, and a strong, coarse, macho voice. Shabba's greatest hits included Trailer Load, Peeny Peeny, House Call, and Champion Lover. His outstanding success earned him Grammys in 1991 and 1992, the only Jamaican artist to receive two such top awards.
And me, man, why Shabba world of girls in country the loads. Any man out there when I have no baby, wait till them dock up and Shabba clear them, you come for some. Other verse. Girls, girls every day, from London, Canada, and the USA. Girls, girls every day. Crown Shabba, king as for them DJ. Never chill alone, that girl along a bar. Come up with me, that come up with something, clear them off. Chill alone, that girl along a bar.
Many DJ stars in dancehall have emerged in the 1990s, almost too many to mention. But to record of this period, no record of this period would be complete without the performances of Ninja Man and Buju Banton.
Border Clash by Ninja Man.
Now hear this. All who chat them out better cool and quiet. And all who run like a punch out, they better settle and stop. You never know one. What we're telling about? This are the done. Wanna listen? Come tell about Border Clash. Border Clash. You know them send for the done in the Border Clash. Me tell them Border Clash. Border Clash. Me say, what kind of clash? Me want to tell them about that because they remember St. Catherine and the Kingston and them clash. You know, say, I want a DJ business band that over Coney Island where they place it black. You know, Span Ferry Highway. Could find out if it up. Me tell them the Border Clash.
Followed by How Ta Go Go by Buju Banton.
whole class of people. We want more, oh, it's a go-go. We want more, oh, it's a go-go. And somebody better shut up and use some firm argument, but you should know. Tell me, oh, it's a go-go. Enough is no fun. If I teach a one start, more let me turn. Oh, it's a go-go. I said, all the fun. Rasta, no Rasta, them why they are fun. Oh, it's a go-go. Enough is go roll. If a man a one, let me fight your hole. Oh, it's a go-go. If me get cool, I mean,
These two were the rival performers with whom they staged many clashes to the delight of massive crowds, some of them filling the National Stadium. They are of recent enough vintage for everyone to remember their memorable border clash by Ninja Man and How It A Go by Buju Banton. During this period, however, every now and then a special recording emerges, flowing in melody and strong in lyrics, moving back to the spiritual or conscious days. The beautiful, poignant, untold story by Buju Banton was one of the melodic diversions with a conscious message in this period.
While I'm living, thanks I'll be giving. I'm a living while I'm living, to the Father I will pray. Only Him know how we get through every day. Only I in the price, I'm a leg we have to pay. While our leaders play, all I see, people are rip and a rob, all are brave. If never love it, it's safe with long bag. So love for the people who are suffering real bad, and never told to the poor, may God help his soul.
This was a theme which was to reoccur with other artists striving after a return to conscious music. The performers who pursued this type of music with a difference in the dancehall setting were notably Garnet Silk, Tony Rebel, and
Luciano's Beautiful.
God Give Me Strength.
I pray, oh Lord, to face another day. Oh, Lord, give me strength to face another day. Carry on life's road, carry on my load. Give me strength, oh Jah, to carry on.
Moving closer to the end of the decade, two other giant DJs emerged. By their creative genius, they have been the strength behind dancehall at a time when this style appears to be on the verge of change. Bounty Killer and Beanie Man have been the consistent hit makers, clashing in memorable shows.
Like champions in action. King of the Dance Hall by Beanie Man.
Seaga down. Seaga now. Yeah. Sing it. Yo, let's do it.
Palm bed, palm floor against wall. We them all till them call me. I'm the girls, them sugar, that's all. Welcome the king of the dance hall. One bed, palm floor against wall. We them all till them call me. I'm the girls, them sugar, that's all. Welcome the king of the dance hall.
Hello, me. Yeah.
Here in the mirror.
Got you, don't give me no icky, girl.
Don't you dare. Remove your underwear.
Followed by For People Fed Up by Bounty Killer.
None of mercy, how them stop run me and cut them stadium. This one reaching out to all the leaders and the media. This is Rodney Price, a.k.a. Bounty Killer. Poor people governor. Well, poor people fed up. To your system shake up. You issue gun for whipping me boss. Poor people fed up. To your system shake up. Well, every day they get to youth said up. Me ask the leader, him and the audience, he make poor people surrounded by danger.
Beanie Man was the Grammy Award winner for the reggae category last year, a well-deserved tribute to his musical skills.
While dancehall was strictly downtown music, It has created an uptown following with its own superstar, Sean Paul, whose mixed ethnic background of uptown origin has made him an even more unique talent. His hit song launched him into the dancehall hierarchy. Give Me the Light by Sean Paul.
Just give me the light. Just give me the light. Yo, yo. Just give me the light. Sean Paul. Yo, yo. Just give me the light and pass the joe. What's another buckle of more? Yeah, let me know my sights and I got to know which one is gonna catch my flow. Cause I'm in the vibes and I got my dough. What's another buckle of more? Yeah, them looking hype and I got to know. Could I be your protector? You're buff in every sector. Every man around them wants on your inspector. But you know let them threaten, I grill you with no lecture. But them for a drill, now them fuel injector.
Looking back at the wealth of Jamaican styles and rhythms, one recording stands out as a fusion of dub, DJ and dancehall. The opening stentorian voice with a warning, the dramatic pounding bass drum of African tradition, then the choral group in a clear statement breaking out into a solo DJ rap. The song fuses all the styles and perhaps is leading the way to a new style in Jamaican music. The record is the very controversial but infectious rhythmic production of Chichi Man by T.O.K.
My dogs, set rules, set laws. We represent for the lords of yards. A gal alone I feel up my...
From them a far in a chichi man can. Give me fire, make we burn them. From them a drink in a chichi man bar. Give me fire, make we burn them.
Yeah. Come make us come. Do you see what I see? Really doing that? Just for them a freak, them a carry on them dirty eggs. Wanna base up on them a lick it back. If them bring it away, pull them up. Rise up every calico go rat. Every chichi man them have to get flat. Me and me I can make a fact. Chichi man then that's a fact.
I hope you are listening to the fusion of styles. Another song leading in another direction of crossover which fuses reggae and pop music at this time is the mega hit It Wasn't Me by Shaggy.
So it wasn't you.
Alright, honey came in and she got me red-handed, creepy with the girl next door. Picture this, we were both butt naked, banging on the bathroom floor. How could I forget that I had given her an extra key? All this time she was standing there, she never took her eyes off me.
Oh, you think the woman has to show your villa? Trespass on a witness, all of your clean on your pillar.
Still more fusion is accruing. Junior Gong, Damian Marley, one of Bob Marley's many talented children, has now been awarded a Grammy Award for the album Halfway Tree, as was his brother Ziggy. Junior Gong's place in this presentation is in recognition of his fusion of the reggae music of his father's time with the DJ style of today, a new direction.
As in the Grammy Award winner, Welcome to Jamrock by Damian Marley.
Welcome to Jamrock, camp where the thugs them camp at. 2 pound a weed in a van box. It in a your handbag, your knapsack, it in a your backpack. The smell of your girlfriend contact. Some boy not know this. Them only come around like tourists on the beach with a few club sodas, bedtime stories, and pose like them name Chuck Norris. And don't know the real hardcore, cause sandals are no back to. The thugs them we do where them got to. And won't think twice to shot you. Don't make them spot you.
Unless you carry guns a lot too. A beer top thing come at you.
In retrospect, somewhat over 40 years after the birth and development of Jamaican popular music, we can assess its importance to the country and the world. Jamaican music has had a greater impact on world music than any other country proportionate to size. The development of dubbing and DJing in Jamaica spawned the American rap, a dominant music form in that country. The Jamaican sound system of the inner city later became the discos of uptown and at home and abroad. But most importantly, there are few countries to which you can go where you identify yourselves as a Jamaican and you're not instantly recognized with the greeting, Bob Marley. Bob Marley stands out as the supreme musical star of the century, a tribute to his music and his message. For this he was awarded the distinctive honor of being voted as having, in the song One Love, the song of the century by the BBC. And Time magazine voted his album Exodus as the album of the century. Two very important ultimate milestones. In the song One Love, Bob seems to be saying, if you are looking for a new direction, not a new sound, the course to take is one love. And so I ask you if you would kindly sing this one so we can end it smoothly. Thank you.
One heart, let's get together and feel alright.
Hear the children crying.
One love.
Hear the children crying.
One heart.
Saying, give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Saying,
Let's get together and feel alright.
whoa, 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 whoa. Let them all pass all their dirty remarks.
One love.
There is one question.
Folks, I'd just like to say a quick thank you to the Most Honorable Edward Seaga for coming here this afternoon to share with us as somebody who has played a significant role in the development of Jamaican popular music, both in his private capacity as an entrepreneur and aficionado, and no doubt in his public capacity as Minister of Planning and Development and later Prime Minister of Jamaica. Thank you very much, Mr. Seaga, for coming this afternoon. And I apologize and I thank you to my good friend Clinton Hutton for giving us a little extra time. I know the next session is starting late, and I know everybody will hang around to hear the next panel discussion coming up. Thank you very much. I almost left without saying that the presentation you just heard is available right here for sale, $1,000, and it has, and maybe you can grab on to Mr. Seaga before he leaves to get your autographed copy, but it's all here and available. The Origins of Jamaican Popular Music by Edward Seaga. Thank you.